Dreams are funny things. They can be a mashup of everything that's going on in our minds, what happened yesterday, what we've got to face tomorrow. And occasionally, when we least expect it, they give us something really cool. Inspiration for my art can come from pretty much anywhere, from books I've read, from folk tales I've heard. But the inspiration for this magical spider painting came from a dream I had last year. If you're just joining me, welcome. My name's Jo. I'm an artist based on a tiny narrowboat in Wales. I spent the last 15 years mostly working in textiles as a doll artist. But this year I'm giving myself room to grow and I'm diving back into an art medium I loved back when I was living on dry land. And it turns out you don't need a big art studio to work in acrylics. If you'd like to see some more of my paintings, I will leave a link down below so you can go and see what I have for sale right now. I'm painting this one on a 6-inch square cradled wooden panel that I've already done some abstract background painting on. Sometimes I find the blank white space way too intimidating, so I like to get some nice deep colours on there first and get my creativity flowing. Then I kind of work with whatever emerges. I did start this piece with an image in mind though. The spider in my dream was similar in shape to the false widow spiders we have here in the UK, so I found a few reference photos with similar looking spiders to get the basic anatomy and drew out an outline in pencil. Then I transferred that onto the background to get the position of all those legs right. I try to use my own photos when I can, but if I don't have anything suitable, I'll have a look for copyright-free photos online. By the time I finish with it, the result will be totally different to the reference photos anyway. Some people would use AI to generate an image, but personally I'd rather crawl on my hands and knees through a room full of giant spiders than use generative AI. Once I've got the basic shape, I can start painting a bit more intuitively. The markings on the back of my dream spider were quite memorable and distinct from reality, so this isn't going to be a realistic spider species by any means. Unless of course it exists somewhere in the world and I've just never encountered it, which I suppose is possible. I'm finding it quite tricky blending the light and shade smoothly here. The white needs to be quite thick and opaque, but it's drying before I can blend it properly. I feel like I'm going back and forth a lot, adding light and then adding shade and not really getting anywhere. So I mark out a rough centre line to help me visualise where the light and shadow need to be, and then I'll let that dry off a little bit while I work on the legs. I'll come back to this area later with a fresh pair of eyes and possibly some slow dry medium. I must admit I was pretty terrified of spiders when I was growing up. I've kind of had to get used to them living here on the canal. Now we coexist peacefully as long as I stay away from where I sleep. The spiders we have here in the UK are pretty harmless unless you have an allergy to them. There is a lot of fear-mongering about the false widow spiders, but in general they're less dangerous than a bee or a wasp. They are fascinating little things as well. They're usually quite docile and they tend to stay in one place. So I'd much rather deal with a false widow than one of the big house spiders that appear from nowhere and run across the floor. Okay, it's starting to look more spider-like now, but we're not quite there yet. I'm still not happy with the abdomen area. It's all looking a little bit dark, so I want to brighten this up a bit and add some highlights and reflections in blue and purple. I'm going to be adding some web detail to the background, so the spider really needs to stand out so it doesn't kind of get lost in it. My dream spider was shiny and black with a very clear white crescent moon and 2 stars on its back. It kept disappearing from view only to reappear somewhere else, always just out of reach, like some hidden knowledge I couldn't quite grasp. If you're enjoying watching this little guy take shape, please don't forget to hit the like button and let me know. You can also subscribe if you like so you don't miss the next one.
I see the bombs falling down, not to mention the fire. There's a lion in my bed, slowly moving towards me. My mind's in a survival state. My body just should I run or should I stay? 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 My thoughts are rebellious. They're in 100 miles an hour. I'm aware that I'm not aware when they tear myself apart. There's no doubt my thoughts are untrue. Or am I a fool? Should I stay? Should I run or should I stay? Should I run or should I stay? Should I run or should I
For me, this painting is about personal sovereignty. It's about learning from our mistakes and building the life we want, one glistening thread at a time. As we start to break threads and make holes in our web, it can be a bit messy and we don't always know how it's going to fit back together. But little by little, it all starts to make sense as an intricate network takes shape to create something stronger. It's about trusting the process and seeing the beauty in the darker times. I've called this one Pulling Threads. If you're still watching, leave me some spider emojis and maybe some stars and moons in the comments. Or if you want to, feel free to share an interesting dream that you had. If you'd like to watch me paint some more, I'll leave another video here that I think you're going to enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Bye!